If you've been paying attention, you'd know that I'm quite a big fan of Universes Beyond. Not only because they touched upon some Universes Beyond stuff that I really, really like Warhammer, for example, but also because I just love Magic's rule system and its ability to be used to convey and explore worlds and stories far beyond that of which the normal Magic canon could. There was a reason that custom cards are such a popular thing among some people for building, because Magic's rule set is so good at allowing you to explore those things. On top of that, I'm a big fan of Magic's eternal formats, or non-rotating formats, whether that be Modern, or Legacy, or Commander, or 100-card Singleton, Brawl, and Gladiator and Arena. I love playing with a large collection of Magic cards or a pool of Magic cards and finding ways to play within that environment, playing with all sorts of mismatches of mechanics from across the history of Magic. I think it makes for the most interesting and fun environments to play. So further to that, I actually quite enjoy playing with Universes Beyond cards in those settings. The problem is that outside of paper, it's quite hard to do so. In today's video, I want to talk about how Wizards of the Coast seem to be absolutely fumbling the ball and dropping the bag and hitting the proverbial bed when it comes to Universes Beyond and digital clients. And I want to beg them to fix this issue going forward for future Universes Beyond, but also perhaps to do some fixing for previous Universes Beyond. Let's get into it. But quickly, a message from today's sponsor. Whether I'm opening collector boosters of the latest set Fallout, whether I'm searching the Nevada wasteland, or whether I'm building a deck on MTGO Arena, I love to do it all by the hue of LCD lights like a real #gamer. This is my beautiful computer rig using the IQ system by Corsair that allows you to customize how the lights on your computer work, how they move, how they dance about and make you excited. And PC Specialists are a world-renowned and industry-leading PC manufacturer in the UK, and they are partnered with Corsair to bring you IQ-powered machines like the one that I'm utilizing here. Not only am I a gamer, but I'm also a content creator, a streamer, a video creator, and editor, so I need a PC that works. And it's in the name. PC Specialists specialize in delivering high-powered configurations that match your every need. Use the code PK24 at checkout or the link in the description below to get £30 off your purchase from PC Specialists. And a big shout out to PC Specialists and Corsair for continuing to support the channel and the stuff that I make. Right, gamers, let's talk about specialist Magic cards, shall we? The Warhammer Precons brought us a few cards that saw some play in Legacy. Poxwalkers, for example, has seen a small amount of play in Dredge decks. They allow you to recur them whenever you cast a spell from anywhere. So, for example, if you were to cast a Cabal Therapy, you put a trigger on the stack and return a Poxwalker from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. You can even sacrifice it to the therapy, get the trigger after you've paid costs, and put the Poxwalker back into play, thus giving you the Poxwalker back, even though you've used it to cast the Cabal Therapy that was in your graveyard. Canoptek Scarab Swarm is a 4-mana 1/1 flyer that when it enters the battlefield, it exiles target player's graveyard. For each artifact on land in the graveyard exile this way, you get a 1/1 colorless insect artifact creature token with flying. It is seeing play in Death and Taxes that can go and find it with Recruiter as a flickerable and vileable and just a generally playable creature that can do a lot of graveyard hate, even at 4 mana in Legacy. The Triumph of St. Catherine has been seeing play in various versions of Control, primarily with Beans decks that triggers Beans, even though you only pay it for 2 mana with a miracle cost. When it dies, you exile it in the top 6 cards of your library in a face-down pile, you shuffle them and put them back into your library, which means that the turn that it dies in combat or blocking, you may be able to just brainstorm it back off the top of your library and cast it for 2 mana. You could, in some circumstances, put this back into play on the combat that it's killed. Triumph is pretty good. It being a 5 mana Beans triggering life-linking creature is generally solid for 2 mana, especially when it recurs itself. And Chaos Defiler is seeing play in Welder decks, a 5 mana 5/4 with trample that when it enters the battlefield or dies, for each opponent, choose a non-land opponent that player controls, destroy one of them at random. In a multiplayer situation where this is designed to be played, like in the Warhammer Precons, this is randomly killing 1 permanent among 3 people. It's quite chaotic on how it applies on the end of battlefield and leaving the battlefield trigger. But in 1v1, much like classic Commander cards like Trinity Nemesis, it gets a lot better. All of these innovations were come to in paper because these cards were not available on Magic the Gathering Online, and there was a point where we thought they never would be. On top of that, none of this stuff is on Arena either, so none of it is seeing play in Timeless, or Historic, or Brawl, because none of the Warhammer cards come to Arena either. But don't worry, there is faith, there is hope, there is a light at the end of that tunnel. Daybreak Games managed to somehow figure out the contracting issues, I'll come to that more in a moment, to get the precons for Warhammer onto Magic the Gathering Online. So to get a Chaos Defiler, you can buy a £40 precon of digital cards to get access to 1 copy of it. If you want to play 3 or 4 copies of it, well, fuck you, you got to spend a hell of a lot of money. But even if it's a terrible financial way of getting onto the system, at least it's on there. At least we're getting some progress towards this, right? Paper Legacy and physical Legacy are coming closer to being one, especially when digital Legacy Legacy, I think it's paper and physical, I meant digital and paper. Even when digital Legacy is really the main way that people play because it's much cheaper to play online. But in the same week, I think it was 2 days later after we'd got the news that Warhammer was coming to Modo, we got the news that Fallout decks won't be. The Fallout decks are full of fun and interesting cards. The two that are seeing Legacy play or may see Legacy play, it's quite early days yet. Lumbering Mega Sloth is a 12 mana 8/8 that costs 1 less for each counter among players and permanents, not just that you control, just across the board, and has trample and ends the battlefield tapped. This is already seeing a small amount of play in Dark Depths decks that when you have a Dark Depths in play, it's just a 2 mana 8/8 that ETB's tapped. Pretty solid. Meanwhile, pre-war formal wear gets me going. It makes my pantaloons tingle with literal excitement. This card is for death and taxes. It's an equipment you can search up with Stoneforge Mystic, and then when you cast it for 3 mana or put it into play off of Stoneforge Mystic for 2 mana, it enters the battlefield and it returns, it rebuys you, it regrows a 3 CMC creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. If we hit a Flicker Wisp, the Flicker Wisp can then flicker the pre-war formal wear, having entered the battlefield again at the end of turn, getting you back something else. And suddenly, the rules of Magic no longer apply, and I can't wait to play with this card. Alas, neither of these are on Modo, and we don't know when they'll be on Modo. On top of all that, these cards are not on Arena at all, and there's no sign of Warhammer cards or Fallout, and I've kind of skipped Doctor Who as a Commander product that introduced a lot of stuff to Eternal formats, because they've not really done any shake-ups in Legacy, but again, all those cards completely absent from Digital Magic. However, you do get some weird crossover promotion stuff. At the moment, you can buy a dog meat pet, or these lands, which I love, by the way, and I might even give money to Wizards, 11 quid for these fucking lands, if I could play with the other cards. Wizards, that's right, I'm not giving you the money for the lands that I like the look of, the cosmetics, that's probably a little bit too expensive if we're honest, because you won't give me access to the cards. Why should I pay for cosmetics when you won't even get the fucking play pieces onto the system? It sucks. So we had this small glimmer of hope that physical Magic and paper Magic would become one again, and then straight away something happened. Something got in the way. And don't even get me started on Mind Goblin. That's a whole other video that I'll cover sometime next week. But why? What's the issue? Well, we've had some hints from developers that there was a contractual issue around the fact they can't put these into into chests and similar, that they all have to be sold within the same product. This has only further proven the theories that we got floating around when they released them onto Modo, the Warhammer cards at least, in literal sealed pre-cons that you could buy. It appears to be a contracting issue where you can only buy them in their whole product. Fine. That means a couple of things. One, somebody fucked the contracts up. 2, they struggle to get them onto digital clients. That means you can't just program just pre-war formal wear and stick it in anthologies on Arena or in treasure chests on Modo. It means to put them in the full product that you're going to put on Modo, you have to program every single one of the cards. And these teams are finite, and we know they don't have enough resources as it is. So it becomes a huge ask to get them onto the digital clients. And thirdly, among all of that, you still got sleeves and card land art and dog meat pets. Warhammer, there's a Blood Bowl secret lair. They got sleeves on Arena, but no art treatments, even though they're all art treatments on Arena either. What the fuck? Somewhere along the line, the contract was signed that they can use crossover materials from Bethesda games and Games Workshop games into their digital clients, like Arena, for example, but they couldn't put the cards themselves onto there in any capacity, or at least in a capacity that would be easy for them. I still think it's where they can't program 100 cards at once, and it's just not a thing they have the resources or the manpower or the staff, should I say, to do. And it sucks. Let me explain why I want to play this. Firstly, I want to play Legacy with pre-war formal wear. And honestly, I don't play that much Paper Legacy anymore because I don't travel out to play. There's none really local to me. I have to travel over an hour to play Legacy. I've got a kid. I've got a full-time job and other commitments. I can't really do that. But I can, as part of the job, do it at home, digitally, for you folks at home and hang out with y'all on streams and in videos. But I can't do that with pre-war formal wear because it's just not available to us because it's not on digital platforms. It's done. On top of that, I have loved playing Doctor Who, Warhammer, and the Fallout precons. Absolutely loved them. I have a few niggling complaints about the theming around Fallout, but on the whole, I think the card designs across all 3 products have been fantastic. I think they've really hit good keynotes about the IPs and the worlds and the world building, and I think some of the designs are fantastic. I think rad counters are incredible as an example. I just really think they've done a good job with them. So when I get home from the game store is now closed. I've got a couple of hours to kill. I'm like, oh, I'd love to play some Brawl with Mothman or with Mr. House, but I can't because those things just aren't available on digital clients. You've got me hyped, you've got me excited, and now I can only play Magic in this prehistoric thing called paper. What year is it? 2002? Look, I prefer Magic in its paper form or digital form too. Those of you that have already commented before the video's over that shut up, Vince, digital Magic sucks. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I love digital Magic. I love Magic in all its forms. Of course, I'd rather play in paper. But digital was practical both from a content creating perspective from one man and his little setup that I've got going on here, but also to allow me to play when everyone else has gone to bed, the stores are closed, or Legacy's happening too far away. And beyond all of that, beyond the personal stuff, because this is very much a personal thing, but beyond all of that, I think you get better brand synergy and better buy-in and better lifelong fans when you can play paper and digital in a way that's cohesive. I've talked about this before with Alchemy, Digital Errata. I've talked about it before with card availability when Port was really expensive on Modo. I've banged this drum for the best part of half a decade at a minimum. I think when they're cohesive and they're connected, it helps your game just to be more cohesive and connected. It allows people to buy in and treat this game as this fucking all-consuming lifetime habit that I do. And maybe that's a bad thing. Some people might see that as a bad thing. I see it as a good thing. And there's no doubt in my mind that Wizards and Hasbro see that as a good thing. Invested players spend a lot of fucking money on your luxury rectangles. So that's the situation we're at. There's been some really fucking weird contracting issues that have stopped these cards making it to Arena or Magic the Gathering Online in singular cards that matter or are fan-demanded or being played in all the formats. Now, where do we go from here? Well, perhaps with newer stuff, they'll actually make it to digital clients because the contracts were signed or prepared in a way that allows them to. So, for example, Lord of the Rings did make it to both clients, Lord of the Rings being a draftable Universes Beyond set. Good. I love the fact that I can play with the Lord of the Rings cards because a lot of them are fucking sick. Although they're on ringers, let's not get into that. Either way, the next proof in the pudding, I guess, is that Assassin's Creed comes to modern, and Assassin's Creed is not a draftable set like Lord of the Rings, but it is non-commander precons. It's in boosters, these weird epilogue boosters. Now, personally, I think Assassin's Creed is a bit of a hot mess. It's an IP I care very little about. It's an IP that I think seems a bit aged, if I'm honest. And then it's showing up in epilogue boosters. It's all just not vibing with me at all, and I might talk about that more when we get into full preview season for the set. But it's modern legal. If it doesn't come to Modo at the very least, then that means paper Modo modern and digital Modo modern. They now become two separate entities, much like Legacy is, and it'll just be a fucking, I'd hate it. Please don't do this to me, Wizards. And beyond that, we've got both Marvel and Final Fantasy coming, which are both draftable products further down the line next year. Please tell me they're going to be on digital clients. I want to play on these in paper, Modo, Arena. I just want to play Magic, Wizards. Enable me to play with your dumb, silly toy box of Universes Beyond, please. And for those of you that are really annoyed that I'm daring to say that I think these cards are cool and fun and interesting, I'm sorry, okay? I want to be your mouthpiece, but sometimes I like things that it turns out a lot of people don't. And if you can't tell, I'm already tired of dealing with that. I don't know why I'm apologizing. I'm not actually sorry. I enjoy these things. I'm sorry that you don't enjoy these things. It's probably a more apt way of putting it. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And Wizards, please don't fuck this up again. See you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.